Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting, fun-filled episode of Magic Duels. I don't know how exciting it'll be, but it'll be fun-filled. Today we're going to look at the Super Heroes or Super Friends 5-color deck, which has got all of our favorite heroes and heroines, basically lots of cool planeswalkers. So first, let's go ahead and take a look at the cards that I'll be using. Feel free to skip this part if you wish. Oath of Nissa is pretty much key in this deck because, as that bottom part says, you can spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast planeswalker spells. So that's incredibly important for all the planeswalkers. We've got the Sylvan Advocate, which is always a great cheap elf. We've got one of my favorite search cards, Telling Time, which is a great way to fix your draw. We got a couple copies of Plummet to deal with flyers. We've got one of our first planeswalkers here, Nissa. Nice cheap one that grabs you a land. Of course, the Tireless Tracker is always great for card draw and just a good creature. Now the Lifespring Druid you can maybe, cut and put something else in, but I'm running it because it can help you with mana fixing. Adds 1 mana of any color to your pool, and so that can be quite useful. The Reflector Mage is good for controlling the board and, getting a problematic creature down or out of your way and then keeping it out of your way for a turn or so. And it makes for a good blocker. We got Oath of Gideon. These Oath cards are quite good in a Planeswalker deck, and Planeswalkers enter with more loyalty. 1 copy of Fevered Visions for some more card draw, because, you have the colors for it. Couple copies of Anguished Unmaking to destroy some problematic cards, like enchantments or artifacts or creatures. Since this is a 5-color deck, Radiant Flames is great, as Converge is easy to trigger. X is the number of colors of mana that you use, and so you can do that for 3, so it's a 3 board wipe. We've got Liliana, the Last Hope. Going to get into our Planeswalkers here. I've shown Liliana before. Next we've got Nissa, Voice of Zendikar, another pretty useful Planeswalker. We've got Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, as a white Planeswalker. We've got Chandra, Torch of Defiance, another pretty powerful 4-mana red Planeswalker. Now Tamiyo is one of the greatest Planeswalkers ever because of her -7 ultimate. Her emblem says you may cast non-land cards from your hand without paying their mana cost. So basically, she is like having omniscience on the field. Everything in your hand is pretty much free to play. And so if you can get that going, it's godlike. We've got Nahiri the Harbinger, which is some pretty good card draw. We've got our one and only Embraced by the Moon, Arlen Cord, our werewolf Planeswalker. There is 1 copy of Archangel Avacyn, not a Planeswalker of course, but a great flyer, and can also be a board wipe too. Can also be flashed in. We of course have a couple of board wipes to control the board and keep things clean. We probably won't be using the Awaken ability very much, but it's just a board wipe. Another Planeswalker we have is Jace, the Unraveler of Secrets. We've also got Ob Nixilis, Reignited. Great for some card draw and removing creatures. And then our most expensive Planeswalker, Sorin, the Grim Nemesis, which has some incredibly powerful abilities as well. Almost all Planeswalkers have pretty powerful abilities. And the mana base is pretty hard. We've got 2 basic plains, 2 islands, 2 swamps, 2 mountains, 4 forests, because we need a little bit more forests And then we've got as many dual lands as we possibly can do. There's no tri-lands in Magic Duels, sadly. So yeah, the mana base can be pretty difficult in a Super Friends deck for this one. And you may notice that I'm only really running one copy of each Planeswalker and trying not to have any duplicates. In fact, the only duplicate is Nissa. There's 2 different Nissa Planeswalkers in the deck. But that's our deck. Let's jump in and see how it performs. It's time for the Super Friends. Now, you might wonder, why I've designed the deck this way. And, of course, I try to do a kind of balance so that my decks can deal with almost any situation that comes up. And, a Super Friends deck, you might think, oh, you just want a bunch of Planeswalkers. Well, that's not going to work. You still need creatures, because the Planeswalkers on the field are going to be susceptible, to the enemy's attackers. And because they can attack a Planeswalker directly. So you still need a balance of creatures to go with your Planeswalkers, to block and defend them, basically. Just like you would defend yourself. Now, I kept this hand. It was definitely a little iffy, but I did have Nissa in the opener, as well as several green cards that I could play, so that's why I kept it. Just one more mana and we're pretty much golden, because the Lifespring Druid can fix for other colors. Although I will need double black for Liliana. But in the beginning I'm fine just making trades, keeping the opponent's creature count at bay, I guess. But yeah, this deck can struggle because it's pretty hard to get your colors situated for all the different Planeswalkers. Let's go ahead and we'll probably start with Nissa here. The Druid can fix for 1 color next turn. I usually don't want to play the Tireless Tracker, unless you've got a land to go with it, so you get some immediate value. But this Nissa can make a chump blocker, so for now it's probably okay. Can plus it to make a 0/1 plant. And for now I could just chump block for a while, but hopefully I can get some more colors fixed here. But yeah, you definitely want the Oath of Nissa in your opening hand, if possible. Oh, he's just going face. Well, I'll just let that through then. I would have blocked if he was going for the Planeswalker, but... Oh, I see. Just gonna hit the Planeswalker with the 3 damage. 3 burn damage, but that's okay. Planeswalker's still alive. Guess I better get this extra mana going here. And we'll make another plant. But yeah, once you get multiple Planeswalkers down on this deck, like 2 or 3, I mean, you've got some really powerful synergies going. And, they can do really powerful things together. So if you're playing against a Planeswalkers deck, it's good to try to take out the opponent's Planeswalkers as quickly as you can, because the value game is... You're going to be overwhelmed pretty quick by the value game. Well, I'm not drawing any lands here, sadly. Oath of Gideon will make some more chump blockers. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and keep chump blockers out. But all these small creatures can actually become a pretty large army pretty quick with Nissa's other ability. Yeah, I'm hoping I can show off lots of Planeswalkers at the same time, because it's a lot of fun when you've got a bunch of Planeswalkers out there. Uh-oh. A cartouche. Meaning he's going to put that back in his hand and replay it probably. And it does 3 damage, so... Well, it's going to aim everything at Nissa now, huh? Alrighty. Yeah, I mean, I could prevent it, but I don't think it's worth it. The one creature has Menace, so I would have to double block it and lose 2 creatures anyway. And yeah, I'm going to lose Nissa either way, since that spell would have done 3 damage. So that's okay. Wow, I've drawn 3 of my 4 forests. You know, there's quite a few more forest related creatures like the Tireless Tracker and the Lifespring Druid. That's why there's slightly more forests in the deck. And also so that the other Nissa can search up those forests. So that's the reason for the slightly more forests. So we're taking 6. I'll just go ahead and maybe kill this zombie. And yeah, the Menace is kind of annoying because you have to double block it. I don't want to lose 2 creatures. Yeah, we'll get some card draw going here with the tracker, and then I can probably make him big enough to be a decent blocker. And that's why the Tireless Tracker is in the deck. Ooh, Reflector Mage is always great. And since I didn't hit a land drop, this 2/1 will have to be my land for the turn. The Druid is a little pricey, but I mean, yeah, you really struggle with getting the proper colors in this deck. I guess I'm okay making this trade. I do lose a single mana, but yeah, it was a weaker creature. Here we go. Evolving Wilds is of course in the deck to trigger the Tireless Tracker twice. And let's see. Gonna go ahead and get 1 extra plains in here for Gideon. Don't have any black for Liliana, so might as well just get the plains for Gideon. Also, the Reflector Mage needs white anyway. There we go, telling time. That'll help a lot. And yeah, it's just a matter of kind of holding the opponent off until you get the proper colors going, because you pretty much always have a great hand of Planeswalkers. Sometimes you have the right colors, sometimes you don't. If you're lucky to have Oath of Nissa, that'll fix everything. But sadly, you can only run 2 in the deck. Let's go ahead and do a Reflector Mage out. Great tempo play. Get rid of this and that enchantment that's on him. And let's tell time. See what we've got coming up. Okay, so there's the other Nissa. Let me get a land here and keep Nissa on top, I think. So then I just need 1 more black for Liliana, and we're good to go. I guess I need 1 red for the other 2 Planeswalkers. So yeah, the reason not to have multiple copies of Planeswalkers, like the 2 different kinds of Gideon, is that this Magic Duels doesn't allow 2 Planeswalkers with the same name on the field, even though they're different. You know, the 2 Nissas that I have are completely different Planeswalkers, but you can't have the 2 Nissas on the field at the same time. Same with Liliana. There's, you know, 3 different Lilianas in the format, but you can't have all 3 of those Lilianas on the field at once. So if you play one, there's my last forest. if you play one and you play the other, you have to sacrifice one of your planeswalkers, which is a little ridiculous, but... So the deck is designed with all these different planeswalkers, so that never happens. The only duplicate is Nissa. Ajani is another one that you could run in the deck. A little pricey, since I don't have an Ajani planeswalker. Sorin is kind of my most expensive, but I think the Ajani planeswalker also costs 6. It's really a good one, but pretty pricey, and his ability is to search up creatures, mostly. And of course, there isn't a ton of creatures in the deck, just enough to be for blockers. It's really all about, having enough creatures to block and keep your planeswalkers alive. So here we go. Let's get some more planeswalkers going. Now that we finally got our mana, we've been holding the opponent off. Might as well get Sorin out there. And let's reveal the top card, and the opponent takes damage. So he took 5 damage there because it was Planar Outburst, which is a 5-cost card. So yeah, Sorin can just drain the opponent to death. But his ultimate is also pretty powerful. So we got 2 planeswalkers going, just holding the opponent off, and the opponent doesn't have any good attacks anymore. So we're just gonna do the value game here, pretty much. Planar Outburst is kind of in the deck if you don't have too many creatures out there and the opponent's got a lot of creatures. You can use it to wipe the board and stall and buy yourself some time. Let's go ahead and get Nahidi out here. And now we get to trigger all of our planeswalkers, get all kinds of great value. Trigger Sorin, just so many options. Didn't do any damage because we just drew a land. Let's discard and draw. I'm not planning on wiping the board because I've got 2 Tireless Trackers out there, so got some good creatures, so there's no point in wiping the board. Planar Outburst wipes both sides, so although Radiant Flames might be useful, now it's probably going to wipe most of my creatures as well as his. So let's just grab a land. And, well, yeah, just a land on top. I've got too many valuable creatures, but yeah, once again, Radiant Flames is a good one to wipe the board, especially with all these multicolors. You're guaranteed to cast it for 3 damage. And let's just keep drawing cards. But yeah, once again, all this card draw and everything, and it's all because of the planeswalkers. And I've got a bunch of awesome planeswalkers in my hand left over here. And now I gotta discard, huh? Probably don't need Ob Nixilis. I mean, I'm struggling with black here, and that's why I kept the Shambling Vents, because I want to get Liliana down. And Ob Nixilis also needs 2 black. But yeah, this is just what you do. You just kind of hold the opponent off with your creatures as much as you can. And then once all the planeswalkers are going, you're good to go. Now, the planeswalkers deck is kind of difficult to use. Hey, Chandra, nice. In, a timed format. You're playing online against opponents or that sort of thing, because, you have very little time. The stupid timer bar appears and, you start to panic, but you have very, very little time to actually trigger and choose what Planeswalkers effects you want. So you got 5 Planeswalkers here that I've got to use their abilities. So I'm going to send that back to his hand. Let's go ahead and draw and discard. I don't think I need that forest anymore. But yeah, you can also think about ooh, there's Tamiyo. One of the best Planeswalkers in the deck. Make Sorin even bigger. Drain for 3. +2/+2 in Vigilance. Or I can just go and Transformer here. Kind of like transforming Arlen Court into the werewolf. It's just pretty cool. There's the Oath of Nissa, finally. Okay, well, don't have to worry about colors anymore. But yeah, it can be really annoying trying to play the Planeswalkers in your hand if you don't have the proper colors. And it's really hard to do a 5-color deck in Magic Duels. So now it doesn't really matter anymore. Don't think I'll be using Anguished Unmaking. But with Oath of Nissa, basically all your lands tap for whatever color you want for playing Planeswalkers. So basically each one of your lands is 5 colors, pretty much, for Planeswalker purposes. So yeah, Oath of Nissa is awesome, must have. And sadly, you can only run 2 copies in the deck maximum, or else I would have a lot more. But sometimes you're lucky, you get it in your opening hand, and then you're golden pretty much. But yeah, let's get Tamiyo going. Although I think before I get to show off her ultimate, this game will be over. Yeah, we got 6 Planeswalkers out there. And we can pretty much play all our Planeswalkers now. Even though I don't have double black, I can play Liliana. I don't have double red, but I can play Chandra if I want. And yeah, 8 Planeswalkers on the field. Let's see, we want to choose 2 creatures that would deal damage this turn, and if they do, we get to draw cards. So I'm going to guess that he might chump with this one. That way I get to draw 2 cards, but we'll see. It'd be fun to show the Tamiyo Ultimate, which is pretty ridiculous. But now we got 8 Planeswalkers abilities we've got to cycle through. Let's use Sorin's ability here. I'll create 14 lifelink vampires. I can exile an enchantment or tapped artifact or tapped creature. Let's exile this for fun. Just using some of the alternate modes. And yeah, I don't really need that. Don't need Planar Outburst either, but that's okay. All creatures gain +1/+1 and gain trample. Yeah, that's pretty much game ending there. Liliana can shrink something down. Chandra, I can add mana. I can cast something off the top or do 2 damage, 4 damage to something. So yeah, just so many options. So many great abilities and options that you can choose. And that's why the timer is really annoying, because you don't have time to sit and think and relax and choose what Planeswalker abilities you want to trigger. A first win! On to the next one. So as always, we're going to have about 3 rounds of Super Friends here, and then we're going to do Two-Headed Giant with my good pal Wild Boar. This hand is perfect because I've got Oath of Nissa in the opening hand. Ooh, and such good choices here. I may have to pass up on Sorin this game. Gonna try to show off some of the other Planeswalkers if I can. But yeah, the deck is all about just getting all those Planeswalkers down and using all their fun abilities. Let's tell time. Avacyn is probably a must keep. And we'll bottom the island. Yeah, telling time is great because it really helps fix the top of your deck. You know what your next card's going to be. There's one you don't need. You can put it on the bottom and you get to put one in your hand. Incredible value for just 2 mana. But yeah, so the mana won't matter at all. With the Oath of Nissa out there, I can just play all my Planeswalkers freely. The only card in my hand that I need to fix colors for is Avacyn herself. Now, yeah, flyers can be a problem for Planeswalkers. Of course, because the opponent can just fly over and hit your Planeswalkers directly. Which is why I have a Plummet in the deck to destroy some big planes, or big flyers, I mean. Some big flyers, and also the Angel, Avacyn's in the deck, has a pseudo board wipe creature, as well as a good blocker and a flyer. And can make everything indestructible, so just a lot of utility on Archangel Avacyn. But yeah, my Planeswalkers are probably going to get hurt. Yep. So it can be a problem when the opponent plays like, oh man, I'm going to cycle, do 2 damage. Like that 4/4 flyer they just cycled. You know, that can take out your Planeswalkers turn after turn, which is why the deck does need some kind of anti-air, either creatures or spells, like Plummet. And Plummet's great, just because it's a really cheap instant that'll pretty much take care of any flyer. I'm going to go ahead and take this out, even though it puts Chandra down to 1 loyalty. So hopefully she'll stick around. But in the meantime, let's just have fun with our other Planeswalkers here. We'll have Gideon attack. But yeah, as soon as you have like 3 or 4 Planeswalkers out there, you've just got so many options and so much value going on that it's really hard for the opponent to keep up. It's just getting it going because of the colors. Ooh, Splendid Agony. Taking out my 2/2, that's unfortunate. Although he could have taken out a couple plant tokens. So I need 2 white, which I have, so I'm good on Avacyn here. Sad they didn't find anything great with Nissa, just a land on top. Just go ahead and do our fetch land here, since I'm just planning on playing Avacyn. Get 1 extra forest. So once again, at this point the colors are only for your actual creatures, because the colors don't matter anymore for the Planeswalkers. So I'm just going to keep pressuring the opponent here. We'll probably do Nissa's ability to put +1/+1 counters on everything pretty soon. Then I can attack with all the plants. So, well, Trial of Zeal will do 3 damage to something. Well, it's not going to save Chandra, sadly, because this only makes creatures indestructible. But I'm going to go ahead and play it out. So, sadly, Chandra down. Hey, there's Jace. And I'm missing blue, but we can still play it. But yeah, this game is pretty much over. An Advocate, always a good blocker. The Advocate's great because when you have enough mana, it's a 4/5 for the cost of 2, and it has Vigilance, so it's just great as a blocker to defend, your Planeswalkers. So we'll give everything +1/+1 with Nissa, and this will be lethal. GG, on to the next one. It's kind of interesting, the +1 counters from Nissa are different. If you notice, Gideon's got the orange counters, which is his loyalty, and then he's got a different counter, the blue one there, that was from the Nissa. Everything gets +1/+1. It's kind of interesting there. Different kinds of counters. Alright, let's try out one more with the Super Friends deck. Nissa's in this hand, so... And I do have the colors to play the Oath. I've got the correct colors in my hand to play what was in my hand, so that's why it was a keep. It would have been perfect with the Oath of Nissa, of course. And this 3-mana Nissa can always net me another land whenever I need it. But yeah, the opener can actually make or break in this deck. 3/3 trample creature. Well, can't block that too profitably yet. We do have Plummet if any annoying flyers happen to show up. I'll just go ahead and play a tapped land here so that my white is ready for my angel. Ooh, that's gonna hurt. 7 damage. With haste. That there crocodile. Yeah, that hurt. Since those have trample, the tokens from Oath of Gideon aren't going to do a whole lot. I'm just going to try to get as many lands as I can here, and then surprise the opponent with Avacyn. Avacyn will help me survive. But yeah, taking 7 each turn is pretty brutal. Gift of Paradise, gaining 3. So for this game, we're going to have to be on the defensive here, it looks like. Once again, the tokens from Oath of Gideon aren't going to do much. We can go ahead and attack with a Vigilant Elf here. Such a good creature. Highly underrated, I think. Ooh, Glorybringer. Now that's dangerous. So fortunately, we have Avacyn here to make everything indestructible. So yeah, that would have been a pretty brutal end. So let's take out the Glorybringer, that's for sure. I'll go ahead and take out this Trampler. We'll take 4 to the face. Well, take 3 to the face, I guess, is better. And I can kill the 4/3. So that was about as much damage as I could prevent. But yeah, that's why Avacyn's in the deck. She's incredibly useful. Hopefully there's no more Glorybringers. Sorin can eventually make me a bunch of life-linking vampires. See, the +1 does not do damage to me, does it? I think I'm going to just go ahead and do this just in case. Doing 4 damage and gaining 4 life. That's why I did it for 4. I wanted to keep Sorin at least around 2 loyalty instead of 1, and then gain 4 life, because yeah, being at 2 life is way too risky. A burn spell would just finish me off. Hydras? That can be a problem too, a 6/6 trample. Although we did get Nissa to transform here. What do we have on top? Well, can put that in at least. I need my kill card here. And I'll start getting red for Chandra. And we can make a couple tokens with Gideon. And of course this oath means all the Planeswalkers have an extra loyalty counter when they enter. So quite useful. Radiant Flames is not going to help me too much. Actually, our opponent may just have to stay on defense here, because he's down to 2 also. This has been a pretty close game. Radiant Flames is not going to take care of that 6/6. Ooh, 4 in the air. It's going to take out Avacyn. That's unfortunate. And yeah, if he goes face, that's lethal, so I'm forced. And that's Trample. We'll go ahead and take that out, because I've got 2 on the field. Well, this was certainly a kind of an odd game. Only got a couple Planeswalkers going, but oh! I used Sorin's +1 ability and the opponent insta-died. What did I draw? It didn't show me. Let me check here. So the opponent had 2 health, and I obviously did 2 damage since he's at 0 there. So it looks like I drew Telling Time for the turn. So each opponent loses life equal to the mana cost. And it looks like I drew Telling Time, which costs 2 mana, so I did 2 to his face. But I had 2 attackers on the field anyway. So that game was still won. GG, opponent. Now let's check out some Two-Headed Giant. Alright, so let's go ahead and try out the Super Friends deck in a Two-Headed Giant match. I'll be with my ally and partner, Wild Boar. Not sure what deck he's going to do, but we're going to work together to defeat the evil opponent. And opponent 1. Okay, so this hand is much better. That first hand was... yeah, it only had 2 forests, terrible colors, but this hand has Oath of Nissa, so I'm keeping. And it looks like Wild Boar is on the Turbo Fog deck. which is all about control, milling the opponent out, and preventing damage. We'll definitely keep a Sylvan Advocate. Since I have pretty much all the colors I need in my hand for what I've got in my hand, so that's kind of lucky. So we're good to go. Although in Two-Headed Giant, the Planeswalkers are going to be under a lot more pressure because, of course, against two opponents, there are a lot more, attackers. So you got to keep that in mind. You got a lot more attackers going for your Planeswalkers than if you're just playing a two-player game. And so it's good to get some creatures out that are good blockers first. Commence the festivities. Prevent all combat damage. So yeah, it looks like Wild Boar is playing the Turbo Fog deck, which is all about draining the opponent, controlling the board, and milling them to death, and then preventing damage with the sort of fog effect cards to say prevent all damage or prevent all combat damage, etc., etc. Yeah, I'm not really into trading this time because maybe if he attacks, but I want to have some creatures ready as defenders. I don't know, actually this 3/2 might be a problem. But I'm going to let it through just for now, since of course we start at 30 life in Two-Headed Giant. So we can take a little bit of beating, but yeah, we've got some pressure going here. I don't have any Planeswalkers in my hand yet. Although, we do have Planar Outburst. So I could wipe the board. Gotta wait for Wild Boar to evolve his wilds. Not sure why he's got the Aether Hub in there. He may have some energy synergies, or he might just be using the Aether Hub to fix his colors, which is a good way to do it in this format. Since, like as I've said before, the color fixing can be difficult without access to tri-lands and that sort of thing, tri-colored lands. All we've got is the dual lands at our disposal. But yeah, we're under some pressure here. The Reflector Mage definitely will help. It always can buy a lot of time. Just gonna tap my 3/2, that's okay. So it looks like Wild Boar is going to play Commence the Festivities. The festivities have been commenced. And so we will take no damage. Or else that would have hurt. That was 10 damage coming across. Yeah, I haven't drawn any Planeswalkers yet. I still have some, pretty good cards in hand. And may have to use this board wipe eventually. Yeah, I need to hit my land this turn. There we go. Whew. So I can still play a Reflector Mage, which is always a great tempo play. I can also kill something with Anguished Unmaking. Question is what to bounce. The trample creature might be a problem. Suppose I could have let him maybe try to double block. Yeah, that attack was kind of pointless. The attack on my part was kind of pointless. That's probably a good target for the Reflector Mage. So yeah, I may just want to prevent as much damage as possible here and wipe. Kind of restart since Wild Boar doesn't have any creatures to lose really. So I may just go ahead and wipe the board here. And there we go, finally got a Planeswalker. And Wild Boar is slowly milling the opponent, but yeah, we're just going to do Planar Outburst here. Get rid of all the creatures. Wild Boar is going to do Cathartic Reunion, discarding 2 and drawing 3. Probably doesn't need the other Cathartic Reunion. Kozilek's Return is a pretty good board wipe, but I have the Radiant Flames in hand, which does about the same thing. So he went ahead and discarded both of those. And doing a bunch more milling. Torrential Gear Hulk is a great card. He's got there in his hand. He's got quite a few really nice creatures in his hand there. And another fog effect in an emergency. We'll see. Yeah, some of these board wipe cards are great in the Super Friends deck because they don't destroy Planeswalkers. They only wipe creatures. So if you've got a couple Planeswalkers out there, you can wipe the board and your Planeswalkers will be perfectly fine. There we go, so starting to get some Planeswalkers now. And my colors don't matter, since the Oath of Nissa is out there. Wow, Wild Boar's got a lot of extra mana to work with, thanks to that enchantment. So he's got a tough decision to make. So do I. Either get a Planeswalker going or Reflector Mage, that 4/3. Might be a good tempo play, but I won't have enough mana to actually do any other spells. So we'll be a little bit more mana efficient. Wild Boar is going to play the Gear Hulk, get something back. Oh, and opponent's going to electrify the Gear Hulk so that it dies from the 2 damage, I guess. It only does 2 damage. I think Wild Boar thought that maybe it did 3. It did 3 damage to all creatures. Wow, well that was quite the blowout for us. I lost my token, so that 4/3 can attack Gideon unopposed. So my Gideon is down. I was relying on that token to chump block for a few turns. So yeah, it's not looking too great. But we are slowly milling the opponent to death here, so... I'm just going to do Radiant Flames here for three different colors. So that'll do 3 damage. Sacrifice this clue. Hopefully I can get a land. Wild Boar is going to play out Glimmer of Genius. He's going to be a genius now. find something out of his deck. There's the fog. The better version of Start the Festivities or whatever. And fortunately I drew a land, so I'm feeling a little bit better here. We're still a little bit on the back foot, but have taken care of a lot of the opponent's creatures. But yeah, that last turn kind of hurt, losing my Gideon. And Wild Boar is kind of short on mana, I realized. He's only got 5 there, although that enchantment helps him out every other turn. And our opponent does nothing. So lucky for us. A little reprieve. And since this is a Super Friends deck, gotta get some Planeswalkers going here. Gonna go ahead and do Jace. I don't need any more lands. Oh, this is a good one. Wait for Wild Boar to play out his wizard, draw a card. Do some milling with Sphinx's tutelage. And he's going to be a genius again. Glimmering. A glimmering genius. Finding commit to memory, huh? It's got quite a bit of card draw going on there. But yeah, at least my Jace is safe for the turn. And Wild Boar has to discard again. His hand is pretty stacked. So he got rid of commit, so he could cast memory, which can be pretty nice. In Four-Headed Giant, memory is pretty wild. Uh-oh, 3 damage to something. Okay, he's going for Jace. It's alright. I was afraid he was going to take out Wild Boar's 2/3. But yeah, memory is pretty interesting because we all put our decks and graveyards back together, discard your hand, and draw 7 new cards. And so it's pretty wild when you do that in Two-Headed Giant, since both your opponents get to do that too. So yeah, slowly but surely pulling ahead here. We've got one opponent that's got plenty of mana, but only 1 card in hand, so he just summoned a zombie there. But the other opponent only has 3 lands and a bunch of cards, so he's kind of mana screwed right now. Okay, well, can play out more Planeswalkers probably. And Wild Boar is going to start milling the other opponent. You notice the opponent across from me is down to 10 cards. I'll go ahead and transform Nissa here. So I got 2 Planeswalkers. Get Ob Nixilis out there. 3 Planeswalkers. And it's time to start plussing for the value game. Radiant Flames, yeah, it could be useful. It's a pretty good board wipe. Wait for Wild Boars playing out Heaven, Heaven and Earth. I guess he just wanted to put it in the graveyard so he could play the Earth version out of the graveyard if necessary. And he's going to play out that big green Warden and draw a card. So that way he played 2 spells, so that he got to draw a card off of his 2/3 wizard there. Since if he just played the Green Warden of Marasa, it would have just been a single spell, so... And there were no flyers. And I guess he can get something back from the graveyard anyway. Yep, he's going to get the Torrential Gear Hulk back from the graveyard. Let's go ahead and use Jace. I don't need another land. Druid, I probably don't need any more. And no attacks from us. But yeah, we're going to try to go for the special achievement, our own personal achievement, mill out both opponents. So in Two-Headed Giant, when you're doing like the Turbo Mill deck or some kind of mill deck, you know, you've got to choose... Oh man, 2 damage to my Nissa. You know, you got to choose which creature or which of your opponents you want to mill. And if one of your opponents is milled out and has 0 cards in their library, you win the game. If either of them. So of course it's easier just to mill out one, like the one across from me only has 9 cards left, so if that 9 reaches 0, we win the game. But Wild Boar is planning on milling the other side, the other opponent out, to see if we can win by milling both opponents in a Two-Headed Giant game. Unfortunately, 5/4 has haste. Ob Nixilis is going to take 5, but I'll still keep it. So Wild Boar is not going to chump. It might have been a chump if it would have killed the Planeswalker, but I still get to keep Ob Nixilis for a turn, so... And yeah, we just got lots of options here. Reflector Mage, I'm going to send that back. It's going to lose the enchantment. And he'll have to discard another card if he plays that 4/3 again. Let's tell time. Always great to see what's coming. Oath of Gideon's great. This will keep a blue source. Well, let's go for the dual land, just in case. Even though Oath of Miss is out there. And yeah, we're just going to draw it anyway here and put it on the field. Oh, there's the other Nissa. Now here's a situation you don't want to play this other Nissa. And yeah, I'll always keep Avacyn. But yeah, I drew the other Nissa, the 3-mana Planeswalker that just starts as a Planeswalker. If you play it out, the other Nissa that you see I have on the field there, I would have to sacrifice one or the other. So I can't play this Nissa out. Unless the other Nissa goes down somehow, then you can play it out. Or if you just want to use one Nissa over the other, but you can't keep both, sadly. So important to keep in mind with the Super Friends deck in Magic Duels. Oh man, 3 damage to something. Well, there goes my Nissa, so... That problem has been rectified. Now I can just play the other Nissa. But yeah, now Wild Boar has a 12/12 Menace Eldrazi out there that's going to dominate. The Great Distortion. Oh, and he's going to sacrifice something. Do 4 damage to Jace. Yeah, the opponents really hate Planeswalkers. They seem to fear the Planeswalkers. So my Planeswalkers are taking a beating. As you can see, Wild Boar is milling the other opponent here. I'll go ahead and play out Nissa. Might want to just keep up my Angel. Ooh, Tamiyo. Gotta put Tamiyo out there. She's just so awesome. See if I can show off. So I'm assuming Wild Boar is going to attack with his 12/12, so let's make a plant token. So hopefully I can draw a card off of Wild Boar's attack. Ooh, there's another Oath of Nissa. Don't really need that. You only need one, by the way. It's legendary. So 2 Oath of Nissas is kind of pointless, because one of them will be sacrificed. Wild Boar is going to draw some more cards. He's going to mill some more. So yeah, I think we're taking over now pretty much, even though we've got lower health. Yeah, Wild Boar is just going to mill out both opponents here. And I got 4 Planeswalkers going, so... And no point in wiping the board, really. Yep, he's going to attack with his 12/12 Menace, which the opponent's just going to take. So I get to draw a card off of that, because of Tamiyo. And I may just wait and play out Avacyn. We'll see here. That way I can easily block an attack if he does an attack. And yeah, Wild Boar has had to discard almost every turn this game. I guess he's got plenty of fog effects in hand. So we don't have to worry about taking any damage. Oh, what's this? So this is Earth again. Damage to each creature without flying. Okay, well, I'm going to save my plant and my druid here. It wouldn't have been a real big loss, but I might as well save them. And there's that 4/3 back again. He's going to have to discard again. Hazoret's Monument goes away. And yeah, our opponents have a pretty huge graveyard. We're just about to mill them out, so we're going to see if we can mill them out and win by damage. So that'll be like a double, triple win for us. The ultimate two-headed giant achievement. Mill your opponent so they have 0 cards and win by damage. So Wild Boar's going to have to be careful on which side he does the milling. He's going to have to mill the opponent across from me a few times too. Yeah, we got a ridiculous amount of mana here. And me without any Planeswalkers in my hand. So I'll do this again with Tamiyo so I can draw. Hopefully I can get Tamiyo's ultimate going, and yeah, the game is pretty much yours once you get Tamiyo's ultimate. Reflector Mage is always good. I'll never say no to that. I guess I shouldn't have targeted his 6/6 with Tamiyo, but I didn't know I was going to draw Reflector Mage. Reflector Mage is great for, you know, bouncing tokens, since tokens never come back. And yeah, just a wealth of cards that I can play here. Just a wealth of options. Oh! Wild Boar is going to do memory. We're going to recycle everything. So we basically cycled everything back into our decks from our libraries. And now Wild Boar is going to re-mill for 14, which is actually 28. And I got some more Planeswalkers, and also all the Planeswalkers that were in my graveyard, I'll be able to get them back. With Nahiri, I can get rid of one of these lands and draw something better. Oh, Fevered Visions, don't really need that. Got plenty of card draw. Oh, and Wild Boar is a copy of Fevered Visions as well. So yeah, it's just going off here. So Fevered Visions is going to end the game very quickly because it does the extra draw for Sphinx's tutelage. So yeah, he's down to 5. And yeah, I can't even see my creatures here. Just got too many creatures on my side, too many Planeswalkers. Too much fun. Opponent's got a double block because of Menace. I get to draw. And Wild Boar is going to draw some more. Another Fevered Visions. Mill out the opposite opponent. We're going to draw some more. Gonna mill some more. Draw some more, mill some more. Boy, hopefully we don't deck ourselves here, which is also possible. Need to be careful, especially with the Planeswalkers, because a lot of the Planeswalkers' abilities draw you extra cards. So, and since those are choice cards, you want to make sure, you know, that the Planeswalker choice is not to draw yourself to death. Choose one of the other Planeswalker modes. So our opponent's just going to bring stuff back from the graveyard, apparently, with Embalm, which I guess is a slight negative side effect of milling. Putting lots of cards in the graveyard that the opponent can embalm. But yeah, with Kozilek out there, the opponent pretty much has to double block every turn just to prevent that 12 damage. And I'm hitting him for 4 in the air with Avacyn. And then we've just got all the Planeswalkers abilities that we can trigger. Lots of options, lots of choices. I think Nahiri at 7 loyalty, I think I can ultimate. But our opponent's just going to play out a bunch of creatures. And they're going to take damage from our copies of Fevered Visions. So yeah, they're down to 6. Down to 12 cards, down to 10. The other one has only 2. Can we do it? It's down to 8. Down to 6. Yep, just got to play out another Planeswalker because this is the Super Friends deck. And yeah, I've just got too many fun options here. I'm sure there's probably a more efficient sequence of Planeswalker. And once again, this is a situation where, you know, we are on the timer in Two-Headed Giant, so you want to be quick with your Planeswalkers, but also you have so many nice options with the Planeswalkers that, you know, you want to think about which abilities you want to use on your Planeswalkers. So I'm just going to return a creature to its hand, which is a token, so bye-bye. Let's put +1/+1 counters on everything. Gotta wait for Wild Boar to do his Cathartic Reunion. He wants to mill out the opponents. So both opponents are milled to death, so they don't get another turn. So yeah, mission accomplished. Achievement unlocked. Both opponents have been milled to 0, and we're gonna win by damage. I guess I could even clear the board with the planar cleansing or something, but just go ahead and trigger Nahidi here. There's a plummet. Trigger off Nixilis here. I can destroy something. But yeah, just a wealth of options. It's just too much fun. It's interesting, that token is a core ally. But yeah, I have another Planeswalker under here I'm trying to select, but who cares? I was trying to select Tamio there. But yeah, we're going to win by damage and a mill. So the ultimate victory in Two-Headed Giant. The opponent's double blocking. And that's the end. Awesome game. A lot of fun. I want to thank everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed this fun Two-Headed Giant round. Check out the Super Friends deck. It's a lot of fun. We really enjoy it. And check out my main channel, East Guru Japan Gaming, for more fun gaming content. And we'll see you in the next one. Ja minasan, mata ne.